Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Dragon's Lair. My name is Brent. Today we're going to be looking at some recent G.I. Joe classified figures, some card stocks, and some Super 7 3 3/4 figures that I've recently added to the collection. If you don't know, I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan, collector. I love the comic books, love the toys as a kid. Wish I would have kept all my stuff from when I was a kid. But slowly working on rebuilding some of that stuff back. But I also collect the newer stuff too. But today we're just going to go over just some recent additions to the collection. You know, of course, my brother was kind of ribbing me about my wife's purses in the background, if you see him back there. He says I should do a nice little video on one of those purses or whatever. But that's kind of like her side of the room over there. And this is my side, which as right now I am running out of room, because my daughter is currently living in my living room. Both my boys are back in the other two bedrooms in the trailer, and I'm trying to find a house. So hopefully I can get a house like a full basement or something like that and just set up a huge toy room. But anyways, back on to what we've recently added to the collection here. First up, we got the Cobra Mole Rat Stage 2. Try not to get too much of a glare. Of course, it's got some pretty cool looking face, if you can see him. Maybe you can see him. I'm getting a glare. I got a light and a TV on behind to kind of brighten it up. But very, very cool. I definitely like all these different versions of Cobra Vipers and stuff like that, and Mole Rat. You know, whatever, all these different troops that you can basically army build. I think that's pretty awesome. So that is, you know, I mean, I'm not going to go out and spend a fortune on these, you know, buying several figures. I don't have that kind of money, but it is kind of cool that you can just buy several of these figures and do that. Maybe if I find them cheap at yard sales or something. But next up, we got G.I. Joe Seymour Sci-Fi Fine. I know a lot of people didn't really like sci-fi back in the day. Get a little close up of them there. Not too much of a glare. But, you know, back in the day, you know, back with the 3 3/4 figures back in the day, you know, just like bright figures kind of attracted kids, I guess you could say. Well, anyways, next up is Cobra Commander with combat armor. Now, I know in the comic series, Cobra Commander was replaced by a Crimson Guard named Fred, I believe it was. I wonder if this is actually Fred. Cool thought to think about, maybe. But always been a fan of the Cobra Commander variants. Probably the hooded Cobra Commander was my favorite one ever. But I don't know if they did a hooded Cobra Commander in this series yet or not. They might have. If they did, I probably don't have it. Maybe I do, but I don't think I have it. Next up, we got the Dreadnought Monkey Wrench. I absolutely love the Dreadnoughts. Every single one of them. Very, very cool figure. A little bit more of a close-up. Got his classic little like spear gun there. Tons of grenades. Absolutely love this figure. Very, very cool looking. Then we also got the Cobra Grim Viper, which this dude is just awesome looking. Almost looks like it's straight out of like the Ghost Call of Duty video game or something. Very, very cool. Sorry about the glare. Of course, he's got like a little Gatling gun in the back. So yeah, he does have a Gatling gun. It's kind of hard to see, but it's like right here. But he does come with a Gatling gun, which you can see on the back. Very, very cool. Running out of room here. And then next up is Bradley Big Lob Sanders. It's kind of cool that they're actually doing figures for Big Lob. You know, I don't think they did back in the day. Show a little back art there. Of course, he's got a little basketball in there too. But she was introduced in G.I. Joe, the movie, I believe it was, back in the 80s. Next up, this was my only clearance find, actually, but we got Christopher Law, Levine, and Order. So I was super happy to get this. Absolutely love Law and Order. I don't think he's my favorite character with an animal, or a figure with an animal. I always liked Mutt and Junkyard myself. But I do love Law and Order. I want to say maybe my friend Kevin was a big Law and Order fan, maybe. I think he had Law and Order. Awesome artwork on the back. Very, very cool. That's the only big classified figure I got. I also got two classifieds. I got the Cobra Eel, or classified cardstock. These are basically the same figures, just on cardstock. Which I got this was at a flea market. This little file card there. Which I have everybody but Beachhead in this on this file card. On the back of this card. But I got this at a flea market, and he had 15 on it. I said, would you do 10? And he says, I'll do 12. So I got it for 12 bucks. Considering these things sell for like 28 bucks now. But the same flea market, there's another different guy set up there. He's got if it's still there, he's got a Beachhead for 15 and another Snow Serpent for 15. And I thought about maybe picking them up. I don't have the Beachhead, so. And then up next we have my man Flint, my favorite G.I. Joe, good guy. Which I don't know if the artwork, I don't know. His face kind of looks kind of funny in that artwork. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but it's my man Flint. Absolutely love Flint. Will always be my favorite G.I. Joe. Of course, I do not have, that's what, Televiper, and I'm not sure who the girl is. It almost looks like CoverGirl, but I'm not positive. Maybe somebody will correct me. I don't have that figure. I only have Flint off these three back here, so, which I actually almost bought this again. I was there and I was looking, I was like, oh, hey, Flint. And I forgot I had bought this, so I didn't buy it when I was just there Friday night, which I'm filming this on Sunday, so you'll see this tomorrow and Monday. So I got lucky that I didn't buy a dupe Flint, but if I would have, I would have just probably opened it. But then we also got this bad boy here. So this is the Cup Triple T with Sergeant Slaughter, Sergeant Slaughter and Leatherneck, which you can see them right there. Which these are 3 3/4 figures, I believe. Which I think in the near future, I don't know when, I'm not going to say when, but in the near future I'm probably going to do like a live opening of this. Show this off, because this is just too cool to leave in the box. I don't think I ever had this vehicle back in the day. I want to say I had the Sarge, because I used to trade stuff all the time, but I don't think I ever had this vehicle, and I don't think I have it now. But very, very cool. I got the newer one, so that is pretty cool. Of course, I got this at GameStop off clearance, and I think I ended up paying like $60 for it, which I think you can order it online for like 60 bucks, but then you got shipping and stuff like that, so basically added up to the same price. So I just thought that was kind of cool. Of course, my sister got me some tattoos at a yard sale. G.I. Joe tattoos for $3. I can make myself look all cool with those. And then another flea market find I had was, this was a 3-pack of Zartan, Cobra Commander, and Zorana, which, I don't know if this is, I don't know, it's one of the anniversary packs. Got a comic in there, issue 74 reprint. Of course, you can see the figures there. Very cool, got some file cards on the back. Which there's also a General Hawk Abernathy, Flint and the Tunnel Rat, which I don't have that 3-pack. I seen it in another flea market down there, but they want like 90 bucks for it, and I ain't paying no 90 bucks for it. I got this, I think, for 30. He wanted 50, I said, did you do 30? And he said, yep. So I thought, 10 bucks a figure, ain't really that bad, even if it's 25th anniversary. And it's a Cobra Commander and Zartan, so that is pretty awesome. Of course, Zartan has a nice little compound bow there. Maybe this is, I don't remember him having a compound bow in the original figure. Maybe he did. But in the comics, he did pose as, was it Snake Eyes? Snake Eyes, and he killed the headmaster of the Arashikage clan. I believe it was headmaster. Which made Storm Shadow become a bad guy and want to kill Snake Eyes or whatever, but it was actually Zartan. So that is kind of cool. Of course, Zorana has some kind of little spin weapon there. I don't remember if I don't have the original Zorana. I had it back in the day, but I don't remember the weapon, so I don't know if it was like a spin weapon. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe you can see it there. A little spin weapon. I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Dreadnoks had some weird weapons. But anyways, on to my Super 7. Yeah, these are all Super 7 collection. So these are the newer 3 3/4 figures, which I absolutely love that they're doing them. Of course, we got Snake Eyes Arctic Commando. I already have the Arctic Cobra Commander, which I showed in a previous video. But I got a whole slew of these. Gotta put these in the middle fall. We also got Big Lob G.I. Joe Reservist. Gonna chuck a grenade there. Very, very cool. At some point in time, maybe when I get a house, I'm probably going to open these, you know, so I can display them. As of right now, I'm not going to open them because I don't want to lose the weapons or anything like that. So, just easier to keep them right in the package. We also got Destro's Weapon Supplier Arctic. Bleh. Very, very cool. Absolutely love Destro. I love most of the Cobra villains. Of course, you know, you got a cool guy to check out who always covers G.I. Joe is Destro is my spirit animal. Highly recommend that guy's channel. I don't ever comment on his videos, but man, that guy puts out some cool stuff. Absolutely love watching his videos. So, nice little shout out to him. If you're not following him, go follow him. Very, very popular. Next up, we got the Snake Eyes Commando. This is the Red Glow. This would be, I believe, from the cartoon The Masked Device. I think where, you know, they had that, got locked in that room and had that container, and then that, like, blind dude, like, rescued him. That's where he gets Timber and all that stuff. It'd have been cool if they would have had Timber with us. But, you know, they didn't. Of course, you get a nice little lineup of figures on there. Which, there's a lot of them I don't have. I'd love to have the Fatal Fluffy and the... Boy, it's hard to read these. Whoever that big dude was that fought in the arena there. Of course, I don't have Wild Bill. Zartan Cold Slither would be awesome to find. I mean, there's a bunch on here I don't have yet. But, you know, I'm more of a... I like to find it out in the wild. I don't like to order online a whole lot. I'd rather go to a store and actually find it at a store because it just makes it more fun, in my opinion. So, you know, Target's, I think, the only one I find around here that sells any of these. So, when I see the figures there, I pick them up. So, anyways, next up we got another Snake Eyes Commando. This is the Tiger Force. Got a nice little sword, and I believe that's an Uzi or a type of Uzi. Uzi Mac 10, I don't know. I believe he always came with an Uzi. Very, very cool figure. Of course, on the back of this, they have a Duke and a Wild Bill, too. A picture of them on there. Got a nice little file card. And we've got, I think this is it, 4 more figures. 4 more figures. Of course, we got Mara. Nice little Cobra uniform. If you don't know who Mara is, she was Shipwreck's love. He fell in love with her. Helped rescue her in the cartoon. Kind of hard to follow all the cartoon and like the comics because, you know, like a lot of the storylines are different from comic to cartoon. So, next up we have, and hopefully I say this right, is Danya. October Guard. Danya. It ain't Dana. I'm pretty sure it's Danya. Sounds like it'd be a Russian name. I don't know. Could be wrong. Hopefully I'm not. You can correct me if I am wrong. Then a figure I absolutely love. We have Cobra Commander, Enemy Leader. Which I love I don't know if you can see him very good or not. But he's got some nice little Cobra like pins holding his cape on. Which I don't remember any figures ever having a cape for Cobra Commander. I mean, like Dr. Mindbender, Serpentor, all of them did. But I remember a Cobra Commander figure having a cape on there. But that is very, very cool. Absolutely love the colors on it. Pops right out. I think this is one of the better figures out of this whole line so far. I won't say it's the best, but that I have, I absolutely love that figure. And last but not least, we have Scarlet Counterintelligence Arctic version. Of course, you don't see her beautiful red hair, which I think is a trademark of Scarlet, hence her name Scarlet. But, you know, I guess it's cold out. You got to cover yourself if it's cold out, except for Quick Kick. You know, he runs around out there without a shirt on, you know, in the middle of winter. But that's all I got for this video. You know, like I said, this is just recently classified and some card stock and some Super 7 G.I. Joe figures added to the collection. You know, I won't say I highly suggest, but, you know, it's definitely a fun line to go collect, you know, classified and Super 7 figures, in my opinion. A bit pricey sometimes, but You know, if you look at the right time, sometimes you find some of this stuff on clearance, which some of these guys I see on Facebook always posting this stuff on clearance. It's like, I wish my Target or Walmart had them on clearance, because they hardly ever do. Once in a blue moon. And I think at my Target right now, they have the G.I. Joe. It's a diver package, I think it is. But they're no-name Joes, so, you know, if it was like wetsuit, torpedo, or something like that on there, I'm sure people would probably buy that right up if it was a dual pack. But it's just two people, and most people don't know. But definitely be on the hunt for these, especially if you can find them on clearance. I highly suggest you collect these series. But, you know, that's your choice. It's expensive. Expensive hobby. But it is what it is. But anyways, that's all I got for this episode. I hope you guys liked what you saw. You know, like, comment, subscribe. It's all cool. It's all good. Thanks for watching, guys. And Zoltan.